All right. Good morning, Chair Postman, Member Garrett, and Member Vollendroff. The lobby is open and recording has begun.
Thank you, Dustin. Good morning, everybody. I will call to order the Washington State Liquor and Cannabis Board meeting for Wednesday, June 8th, 2022. First item on our agenda is rulemaking timelines with Dr. Hoffman, our Policy and Rules Coordinator, who's actually here in the office with me. So, Dr. Hoffman.
Good morning, Chair Postman, Board Member Garrett and Vollendroff. A brief rulemaking update today, starting with alcohol rules in progress. With respect to implementation of Senate Bill 5940, or contract packaging services endorsement, we continue to progress towards draft conceptual rule completion. The formal comment period for the CR 101 concludes on June 17th, and to date, no comments have been received on that. We do anticipate sharing our draft conceptual rules through GovDelivery in the coming weeks for public comment rather than a listen and learn session, since the provision of this endorsement is legislatively mandated. So under this timeline, we anticipate bringing a CR 102 for you to review and approve, hopefully on July 20th.
Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Because I can't hear.
Oh,
no.
okay. Stand by 1
And I'm
second.
trying to figure it out.
Dustin can try to troubleshoot. So hold on 1 sec, Ollie. Any better, Ollie? Dustin, can you give her a call?
I'm working on it, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you.
I guess I'll take a moment to make sure you can hear me.
Yes, you're coming
Okay.
through loud and clear. Hi, Jeff.
Good morning.
Chair Postman, Member Garrett's computer had shut down, so she's rejoining in just a moment.
Okay, we will stand at ease for a minute.
Can you hear me, Ollie? Are you back, Ollie? Can you hear me? All right, quick test here to see if Ollie, can you hear me? If you can hear me, you're on mute.
Dustin?
There we go. I can hear you.
Okay.
can you hear me okay?
I can hear you from the phone, but I'm on the camera on the computer.
Well, it's coming through good. Sorry for the hassle, but I think we can make this work.
Sorry.
That's okay. Boy, it's happened to every one of us. Okay. We will come back to order and back to the rulemaking timeline overview with Dr. Hoffman.
Okay. Thank you, Chair Postman, and good morning again, Board Member Garrett and Vollendroff. I'll just go ahead and start from the top again in case someone else has joined us. So starting with the alcohol rules in progress, with respect to implementation of Senate Bill 5940 or contract packaging services endorsements, work continues to progress toward draft conceptual rule completion. The formal comment period on the CR 101 concludes on June 17th, so next week, and to date, no comments have been received on that. We do anticipate sharing our draft conceptual rules through GovDelivery in the coming weeks for public comment rather than hosting a listen and learn session, since the provision of this endorsement is legislatively mandated. Under the timeline, we anticipate bringing a CR 102 to you for review and approval on July 20th, and that would set a public hearing for August 3rd, and final rules for your review and potential adoption could be brought to you no earlier than September 14th. We will be, Audrey will be addressing axe throwing in the next agenda item, I believe. And then moving on to general rulemaking. You'll recall approval of the CR 102 for the CR 102 proposal, pardon me, for electronic transmission of documents for service and filing at the last board meeting. And to date, no comments have been received. We remain prepared to host a public hearing for this proposal on June 22nd. And under that timeline, we can bring rules to you for adoption or a CR 103 as soon as July 6th. So moving on to cannabis. The THC definition project continues to progress with internal rule development meetings scheduled for this month. We've received one comment on the CR 101 so far, and the formal comment period ends on July 1st. At this time, the listen and learn session on draft conceptual rules is scheduled for July 14th, and we anticipate bringing a CR 102 to you for review and approval on September 14th, excuse me. Under that timeline, the public hearing would be held on October 26th with final rules for your review and potential adoption on November 23rd. We do have another deliberative dialogue scheduled for that project on June 21st. Messaging just went out yesterday. With respect to implementation of second substitute House Bill 1210, that's on target for final adoption on July 6th. That changed the word marijuana in our rules to cannabis, consistent with that legislation. Formal comment period ends on that on July 2nd. And then finally, with respect to social equity, we do continue our additional research and analysis. And that concludes my presentation for today. Can I answer any questions?
Any questions on that? Okay.
All right,
Great.
thank you.
We'll move to our next item, which is board consideration of CR 103 for axe throwing at liquor licensed establishments. Audrey Vasek, our policy and rules coordinator on the alcohol side, will present that to us. Ms. Vasek.
Good morning, Chair Postman, board members Garrett and Vollendroff. Thanks for the opportunity to be here today. Today I'm requesting board adoption of final rules related to axe throwing at liquor license premises. So some brief background, axe throwing has become increasingly popular as an activity that businesses would like to offer in combination with liquor service. And beginning in 2018, the licensing division began receiving applications from businesses that either had axe throwing as their primary activity and wanted to add liquor, or from established liquor license businesses that wanted to add axe throwing. In April 2021, the board approved a settlement agreement with the specific axe throwing business to have a liquor license under a pilot program for 1 year with certain safety parameters in place. So these rules are needed to provide a framework to address public health and safety concerns that arise when alcohol service is combined with axe throwing, as well as provide consistency for businesses that seek approval to offer axe throwing at their premises. The final rules in CR 103 package before you today were developed through a collaborative rule development process involving both internal and external stakeholders and including input from public health and prevention, axe throwing businesses, liquor licensees, and other interested members of the public. We held a listen and learn session on February 3rd, 2022 that around 65 individuals attended, and this process is described in more detail in the CR 103 memo. During the public comment period, which began on March 16th through April and ended on April 27th with the public hearing, 4 public comments and questions were received, all in support. Several comments and questions in support of the proposal were also received after this formal public comment period closed. Those comments are included in the concise explanatory statement. So in summary, the final rules before you today would require licensees that offer axe throwing to create a safety operating plan that includes 2 main components. 1, protocols for monitoring patron intoxication and consumption of alcohol, and 2, a floor plan designating consumption areas where alcohol is allowed and identifying the axe throwing areas where alcohol is not allowed. The final rules require axe throwing areas to have barriers to keep them separate from designated consumption areas and to prevent axes from traveling outside of those areas. The rules also outline how a licensee can request a change in their safety operating plan and include a reference to penalties for noncompliance. There is no change between the proposed rules in the CR 102 and the final rules before you today. So in terms of timeline, if the board adopts the final rules today, I'll file the CR 103 with the code revisor and the rules will go into effect 31 days later, which is July 9th. That concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions.
More questions for Ms. Vasek?
I have one quick question. So Audrey, thank you for that report. You indicate that the rules would go in effect 31 days later. I have a question about when people can start applying. Do they apply after 31 days or before, or at what point can people start applying should this get approved?
Thank you for that question. So our licensing division is currently working on creating a safety operating plan template as well as application instructions. And our goal is to get that up on the website as soon as possible, but no later than when the rules go into effect. So we don't have a precise date right now, but we are working, if the board approves the rules, to get that material out there as quick as we can.
Thank you.
Couple questions. One, can you, I know we've covered this in the past, but the pilot program that's just a little bit over a year old now, have there been any reports of any problems in that operation?
No, there haven't been any reports, and that was out of Blade and Timber up in Seattle, and we haven't heard anything.
Okay. And what would happen to Blade and Timber if the board didn't adopt these rules? Could Blade and Timber just continue? Is there an end date on that pilot program, or would they, under that settlement, would they be able to keep operating essentially what becomes a monopoly axe throwing business?
So I'd have to defer to that on the contents of the settlement and get back to you. I'm not entirely sure what would happen in that case.
Okay, interesting. Any other questions for Ms. Vasek? Seeing none, thank you for the presentation, Ms. Vasek, and now we'll entertain a motion to adopt the CR 103 for axe throwing at liquor licensed establishments.
I move that we approve the CR 103 for axe throwing at liquor license establishments.
Is there a second?
I second that motion.
Okay, then that is approved. Great, thank you for the work on this, Ms. Vasek, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Our next item is pesticide action levels and consideration of CR 103. Jeff Kildall, our policy and rules coordinator on the cannabis side, will present that to us. Good morning.
Good morning, Chair Postman and board members Garrett and Vollendroff. Thank you for the opportunity to be here today. The CR 103 permanent rulemaking before you today for approval amends WAC 314-55-108 to update chemical isomer information for several of the pesticides currently allowed for use in the production of cannabis. Other amendments to this rule update rule language to ensure consistency with the recently adopted cannabis quality control testing rules, including removing language concerning the remediation of cannabis products that have failed quality control testing. And finally, the amendments remove redundant language from the rule section and replace the term quality assurance testing with quality control testing, which is consistent with WAC 314.55.102. This CR 102, or the CR 102 for these rules was approved and filed on March 30th, 2022, and the public hearing was held on May 11th. We received 4 separate public comments on the proposed rules, which are included in the concise explanatory statement. These public comments on the proposed rules were carefully considered. However, no changes were made to the rules based on these comments. It should be noted, though, that the term marijuana was replaced throughout the rules section with the term cannabis for conformance with second substitute House Bill 1210, Chapter 16, Laws of 2022, Section 168. So if approved today, these rules would take effect on July 8th, 2022. And that concludes my my presentation on the CR 103, and
I don't see any. Thank you. I think I know this was the quote easier part of this whole project for you, but I know it's been a ton of work to get the 2 rule packages. So thanks, Mr. Kildall, for your work on that, and glad we're getting this piece done as well. And if there are no questions, we will consider a motion to adopt the CR 103 for pesticide action levels.
I make a motion that we approve the CR 103 for pesticide actions.
And this is Ali, I second.
Great, thank you. Then that is approved. Thank you, Mr. Kildall.
thank you, Chair.
We'll now move to the general public comment period for the meeting. A couple of reminders for everybody. One, as with all our meetings, we record all of our meetings. They'll be available on the website soon. After I call you, please just give us a second. Dustin will connect you. We'll be patient as well, as if it takes you a second to get ready. We know how these things go. And when you're ready to start, state your name and affiliation, please. And then you have 4 minutes to say what you'd like. When you have 30 seconds left, Dustin will, as gracefully as possible, interrupt to just give you that heads up. That's just to tell you the clock is ticking and you have 30 seconds. At the end of that 30 seconds, we will require you to stop, just to keep it fair for everybody. So with all of that, the first person I have signed up is Peter Manning. Mr. Manning?
Good afternoon. Can you guys hear me?
Sure can.
Good afternoon, board, Mr. Postman, Ali Garrett, and Jim Valendroff. Thank you for having me. I just got a couple of things to say.
Mr. Manning, you're just cut out. Why don't you go ahead and start again? We can't hear you all of a sudden.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Just go ahead and start again. Thank you. Sorry.
Okay. I would like to get some clarity here about Black Excellence of Cannabis Association with Christopher King. There is none. Christopher King is currently using sound bites from previous conversations or previous internet chat or whatever to try to give the illusion there's some association between our organization and his. We are not on that level with this guy. We don't believe in attacking anything. I think that our approach now is to concentrate on the movement of getting Black and brown people included in the cannabis industry in the state of Washington. That's our primary focus. We do not agree with those approaches of certain people and their things. But to move on with that, I just don't want to dwell on that too long. I think that if we were to look at, as Black and brown people, and to look at the past, the reason we're in this position is not just because of the board. It's not because of the LCB. There's other lobbyist groups out there, like namely WACA, that has pushed out a lot of different legislation that would prevent Black and brown people from being part of the cannabis industry, which is not known, but it should be known. And just to go on and get some clarity, Black Excellence in Cannabis thinks that the LCB is moving in the right direction. We are looking forward to working with you guys to make this happen for us as an organization as well. We truly believe what Inslee told us in 2019 when we met with him. We see what it has come to fruition. It's here. There's new board members. The LCB is moving in a positive direction. You guys, we believe in you guys. And this is the reason our mindset has changed, is because we see the change in you. So that's what I would like to say. And we like to say, we appreciate this opportunity to work with you guys, and we're going to keep moving forward. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. The next person signed up is Mike Assay. Mike, are you with us?
Good morning.
Oh, good morning. There you are.
I just want to say, astronomy-wise, good morning, board members. Mercury's in retrograde. For those that may not know, it's in retrograde until June 22nd of this month. So everyone, communications have been haywire. My cell phone, emails. Anyway, just wanted to chime in. So Ali, it wasn't your fault. Whatever was going on, Mercury's in retrograde. Okay. Thank you for letting me speak this morning. My name is Mike Assay. I'm with Emerald City Collective Gardens. We were established in 2010. We were the second Black-owned medical dispensary in Washington State, and we were the first downtown Seattle medical collective dispensary as well. I just want to briefly read a paragraph from Governor Inslee in regards to Executive Order 2202. And it reads, I recognize the traumatic and long-lasting impacts of discrimination, racism, and oppression. I also recognize that Washington state government has a responsibility and the ability to make a difference for all of us, employees, the people served, and current and future generations of Washingtonians. This order alone will not create equity in our state, but this is a necessary next step. I just wanted to read that in regards to the social equity and what's going on right now. As most know, African Americans have had the brunt of the war on drugs. And I just want to encourage the board to really take into consideration that, being Black and brown, you should be at the top of the list to receive a social equity license. In all the task force meetings from the very beginning, that was discussed, that Blacks and brown, the numbers are there. And in regards to the task force, I was part of the task force from the very beginning. I felt, as I analyzed it, it had been manipulated in a lot of different ways. The task force, the recommendations to the LCB was purposely delayed. Last summer of 2021, the LCB was ready to get these licenses out, but the LCB had to wait for the recommendations of the task force. And I felt that this was a very disservice to the medical community, to Black and brown, to the BIPOC community. As has been stated before, the LCB is trying to do the right thing. I have recognized that. You current board members were not here in I-502. You were not here in House Bill 5052. And those two initiatives and those two bills are the reasons why I didn't get involved or able to continue, and others like me who were licensed and paid taxes and did everything the right way. So I do recognize the change. And I just want to say to those in the community, these are not the board members who locked us out. These board members are new and they're trying to do the right thing. And I respect that. These attacks on Ali Garrett, that have been going on. I don't condone it and I don't like it. Ollie was not here when this happened, neither were these board members. And I just want to express that I don't condone it. Others that back Emerald City Collective Gardens doesn't condone it either. I think it's really disrespectful and idiotic with all these accusations that I've been hearing.
Mike, you have 30 seconds.
That are completely inaccurate. Ollie Garrett walked with Dr. Martin Luther King as a little girl. That has touched me so deeply to know that I see somebody and have spoken with someone that actually touched and saw Dr. King. So with that being said, those in the Black community understand this. As Malcolm X stated, we've all been oppressed. We got to put everything down and come together for one common goal. So anyway, I just hope the board members take things into consideration that I've explained, that I may also have sent in, and thank you for your time, and I appreciate everything. Thank you.
Great. Thanks for your time, Mike. Appreciate it. Next person signed up is Christopher King.
Okay, are we there now?
You are.
Great, terrific. I'm going to address Peter Manning briefly. Those sound bites that he's talking about, those were from his living room because he, John Novak, and I, and others who will go nameless, met a number of times to work on cases. He's aware of the fact that I am single-handedly responsible for getting 2 wrongful prosecution cases of the LCB dismissed, that against Levi Lyon, the Hempfest director, and bud tender Senjo Raylene Hall. We conversed a number of times, didn't have a beef until I exposed the whole thing with Nate Gate. That's a fact, all right? I helped them draft the federal pleading. Now he's going to try to run away from me. Ollie, don't roll your eyes. Listen, that's what happened. It's a fact. And those sound bites in my videos are what he said, and that's that. I'll leave it at that. I have never attacked Ollie Garrett. And by the way, let's move on to something else, Mr. Postman. Let's lens our relationship this way. You and I, we're fourth estate brothers. While you were studying at U of M, I was practicing right next door to you as a daily journalist at the Indianapolis Star before I went to law school. So you understand then that all I've sought here are things that I'm entitled to, like what happened to that certified mail envelope that Kevin Shelton sent out, that with all the declarations that he's filed in federal court and that his family members have filed in federal court, indisputable. What was going on at that time with that program with Chris Bennett, Nate Miles, and the whole situation there. Nobody has controverted that, just the facts. And more than a month on now, I'm still trying to find out what is the protocol and what happened to that package that you got in 2020. That's simple. That's what you do as a journalist, right? Right. Next. And I've also asked for the documents as to how Emerald Hayes got their license. I've asked for that. That's public information. I'm entitled to have that. Am I not? Yes, I am. There's no attack. There's no nothing. And I won't tolerate anybody trying to say that that's an attack because it's not. It's a request for information, period. Not having it. Next, speaking about attacks, let me tell you something. Boy, oh boy, we're going to get to that, okay? First of all, 5052 placed an affirmative, non-delegable duty on you guys to create a fair, merit-based, application to get licenses. Okay, that's a fact. All right. It never happened. Still hasn't happened. I guess you guys are working on it now. That's terrific. It would be great if you could get me back the answers to my public information request so that we could go on from there. But that hasn't happened. All right. So I'm just going to keep asking for them. All right. And now, as far as what was said about me, Paula Sardinas is a lobbyist for Pfizer, for Eli Lilly, which is where Nate Miles works. She's also, associated with Ollie Garrett. These are facts, okay? With Tabor 100. These are facts, okay? And she wrote about me, and I quote, "No one takes Chris seriously. He's a disbarred attorney. You are following someone who is dangerous. This is foolish and stupid. I can never condone any Black or Muslim engaged in this conduct." What conduct is she talking about? I haven't done anything wrong. All right. And then to cover it up, to make things worse, when I told her I was going to sue her and drafted the lawsuit for defamation, she wrote that to Sammy Saad to get him away from us. Then she wrote me back and said, "My comments regarding dangerous people did not name you or any specific person. Therefore, it did not pertain to you."
Christopher, you have 30 seconds.
Thank you. As we just heard, that's a lie. Okay. Because it did clearly pertain to me. All right. I don't speak. And by the way, she had Peter Manning on the phone with her and did not tell Sammy Saad that, that's a violation of 18 U.S. Code 2511, wiretapping. Okay. Now, in closing, you notice I'm wearing my Wagaween shirt today. That's because I'd rather support Noah than Paula Sardina's Puppy Land, which is one of the worst places you can go for dogs.
Christopher, that's your time.
Yep. Good day.
Good day. That is the last person we have signed up for public comment. The last item before we adjourn, just a little information about our meeting logistics going forward. Starting next week on our caucus on the 14th, we will have an in-person location for all of our public meetings. So for the board, that would be the caucus, the board meetings, and the executive management team. Now, what that means is we're going to be doing hybrid meetings. We're going to continue to rely on, although today might not be the best day, but we're going to keep doing this. It actually has been a tool that's been super beneficial to stakeholders around the state who've been able to join us, who normally would have had to driven over here pre-pandemic. So we're not going to lose this ability at all. What we are going to do is also provide an opportunity for those that don't feel comfortable maybe dialing in or don't have the technology. And since we're using that technology today, if you know anybody like that, let them know there will be in-person options. And the way that'll work is there may not be any a board member there, for example, but there will always be a staff person here at the LCB headquarters on our public meeting days who can help you get in front of the camera to participate in our meetings. You'll be able to hear it. You'll be able to speak during public comment. If it's a public hearing, you'll be able to provide your testimony. And what we're hoping for is a seamless mix of the in-person and online. So I'm sure there'll be some hiccups. Dustin's been working really hard on the technology side. We think we've got it working. I can tell you that when you come into the meeting, our staff will be wearing masks. I don't know what requirement there will be or not, but just so you know, we'll let you know. There will be socially distant seating available for people, and just would encourage everybody to do all the safe health things if they come into the building and want to participate in these things. We'll still have the Teams option that we're using today. TVW will continue to broadcast, so if you're looking just to watch, TVW is a great option. And we will see how it goes. It'll probably need some fine tuning as we kick it off, but it'll be interesting to see. But again, anytime anybody will be able to participate remotely, we don't want to lose that. And board members too will be appearing in different ways. Sometimes one of us, or some of us, maybe even all three of us, will show up here one day, but maybe one day we're all working remotely as well. So going to just kind of play it by ear and hope everyone can be patient with us as we do that. So that starts Tuesday for the caucus. Dustin, anything that I forgot in that summation?
No, thank you, Chair. I think you covered everything very well.
Okay, great. Anything else to add from any board members? Okay, well then with that, we will adjourn the Liquor and Cannabis Board meeting for June 8th, 2022, and we will see you all next week. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.